This person hurt you deeply, and at first it felt like something inside you completely collapsed. But what you don't realize yet is that this pain is carrying a lesson that will eventually set you free. Right now, you probably don't want to hear that, because when someone wounds you emotionally, especially someone you trusted, the mind doesn't look for. Meaning, it looks for answers, it replays moments, it searches for reasons, it tries to understand how something that once felt safe became something that now feels unbearable. And in that confusion, one question keeps returning: why did this happen to me? But here is the truth that slowly reveals itself only with time. Not every painful experience comes to destroy you. Some come to awaken you. You don't see it in the beginning. In the beginning, it's only pain, it's only memory, it's only the echo of what used to be. But underneath that emotional noise, something deeper is happening, something your future self will thank you for. Because the person who hurt you didn't just leave a wound, they left a pattern exposed, a truth uncovered, a version of yourself you were unaware of. And if you stay with this video until the end, you will understand something most people never fully realize: that the deepest pain you are feeling right now is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your awareness. And what feels like emotional destruction today may actually be the first step toward your freedom. Why does it hurt more than you thought it would? There is something strange about emotional pain. It rarely arrives in the form you expect. You think you are prepared. You think you can handle it. You think distance or time or logic will soften the impact. But when it actually happens, it doesn't just affect your emotions, it affects your entire internal world. Because this kind of pain is not just about losing a person, it is about losing meaning. This person was not just someone you knew. They were part of your emotional structure. Your daily thoughts adjusted around them. Your expectations quietly formed around them. Your sense of comfort unknowingly depended on their presence. And when they hurt you, it doesn't feel like a single event. It feels like something inside you has been destabilized. You start questioning moments you once trusted. You start rethinking conversations that used to feel simple. You begin to see the past through a different emotional lens, one that no longer feels safe. This is why philosophers often describe suffering as a teacher disguised in chaos. Because pain doesn't just remove people from your life, it removes illusions from your perception. And that is where the hidden lesson begins to form. Because what hurts you is not only what they did, it is what you believed they would never do. And that belief, not the action, is what breaks first. But in that breaking, awareness begins. What if the version you loved never truly existed? There is a moment in every deep emotional wound where reality feels slightly rewritten. Not because the past has changed, but because your perception of it has. You start remembering things differently. Small details begin to shift in meaning. Moments that once felt warm now feel confusing. Conversations you once cherished now carry hidden weight. And slowly, a difficult thought begins to rise in your mind, almost silently. Was it ever real? Or did I just believe it was? This is where the real psychological shift begins, because often we don't just lose a person. We lose the version of them we constructed in our mind, shaped by hope, attachment, and emotional investment. Carl Jung once suggested that we do not see people as they are, but as our unconscious mind needs them to be. And when that projection breaks, it feels like betrayal. Even if reality was simply revealing itself, you didn't just love a person, you loved the meaning you attached to them. And that meaning gave you stability, identity, and emotional direction. So when the truth appears, when inconsistency, distance, or betrayal enters the picture, it doesn't just hurt. It disrupts your internal narrative. But here is the uncomfortable truth. The illusion was never meant to last forever. because illusions protect you temporarily, but they also delay your growth. And pain arrives exactly when illusion becomes unsustainable. This is why heartbreak feels like awakening and collapse at the same time. Because part of you is grieving the person, and part of you is grieving the story you believed. And in that grief, something begins to shift. You are no longer just attached to them. You are beginning to separate truth from fantasy, and that separation, painful as it is the beginning of clarity. What if this pain was never about them, but about you? There comes a point in deep emotional pain where blaming the other person stops bringing relief, not because what they did becomes acceptable, but because something inside you starts asking a quieter, more uncomfortable question. Why did I allow this? And that question changes everything, because now the story is no longer only about betrayal or hurt. It becomes about awareness, about patterns, about emotional choices you didn't realize you were making. This is where the pain turns inward, not as self-blame, but as self-revelation. The relationship didn't just show you who they were, it revealed who you were when you loved, your boundaries, your tolerance, your silence, your hope, your fear of losing something even when it was hurting you. This is why ancient Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius often emphasize that external events are not what disturb us, but our judgments about them. Because the external world only becomes powerful over us when we unconsciously surrender parts of ourselves to it, and that surrender is rarely sudden. It happens slowly, in small compromises, in ignored red flags, in moments where your intuition spoke quietly, but your attachment spoke louder. And now, after the pain, you begin to see it, not with shame, but with clarity, because this realization is not meant to punish you. It is meant to upgrade you. The person who hurt you became a mirror you could not avoid anymore. A mirror showing you where you abandoned yourself while trying to keep someone else close. And strangely, that realization is not just painful, it is freeing. Because once you see the pattern, you are no longer trapped inside it, you are standing outside it, and awareness is the first real form of freedom. What if this was never the end, but your beginning? There is a strange shift that happens when pain lasts long enough. At first, it overwhelms you, then it confuses you, then it teaches you, but eventually, if you don't run from it, it transforms you. And this is the moment most people miss. Because when the emotional storm begins to settle, you expect to return to who you were before, to go back to normal, to feel okay again in the same way you once did. But something is different now. You are different. The person who once needed constant reassurance begins to value silence. The person who once chased clarity from others begins to seek understanding within themselves. The person who once feared loss begins to recognize that holding on too tightly was the real suffering. This is the hidden purpose of pain, not to break you, but to separate you from what you thought you needed. And in that separation, something powerful happens. You begin to reclaim pieces of yourself you had unconsciously given away. Your attention, your emotional energy, your sense of direction, your identity outside of someone else's presence. Nietzsche once suggested that what does not destroy us makes us stronger. But the deeper truth is this: what does not destroy you often reveals what was never truly you in the first place. Because suffering strips away illusion. It removes dependency. It forces you into a deeper relationship with yourself. And when that happens, freedom is no longer a concept. It becomes an experience. You realize that letting go was never about losing someone. It was about returning to yourself without distortion. And suddenly, the pain that once felt like an ending begins to feel like initiation. Not into sadness, but into clarity, into strength, into awareness, and maybe for the first time, you understand. This didn't happen to break you, it happened to bring you back. So if you are still in the middle of this pain, don't rush it, don't silence it, don't escape it too quickly, because what feels heavy right now is slowly shaping something lighter within you. One day you will look back at this moment, not with the same pain, but with understanding, and you will realize the person who hurt you did not define your ending, they revealed your beginning.